You have arrived to the Plunge Into Prosperity podcast, where sacred wisdom meets regenerative wealth. I'm your host, Brandi Kolosky of Sacral Capital. Now let's plunge in. Welcome back, everyone. And I would like to go ahead and let everybody know that we are here together for another episode of Plunge Into Prosperity. Today I get to sit down with a founder who is quietly reshaping IT from a small town in Indiana, Katie Hutchinson, founder and CEO of KHIT Consulting. Katie, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm super excited to be here.
Amazing. So for those who are new here, Katie, tell them why they should continue listening to this particular episode of Plunge Into Prosperity.
This particular episode, we're just going to talk real talk about what it's like to, build a business and, be that person who takes the knocks on the chin and keeps going, and what it's like to persevere.
Yes, that you hit it nail on the head on that one, or on the chin.
Yeah.
So tell us, how did you first discover your own personal definition of what true prosperity really means to you? And, how did you start actively embodying and stewarding that vision of your life? I know you and I talked about it, but I'd love for the listeners to hear.
Yeah. So for me, in my first career life, I was a classroom teacher. And so for me, prosperity there was happy kids.
Yeah.
If my kids were happy and my kids were successful, then I was prospering because they were prospering. And so my prosperity was tied to theirs. And I left the classroom to do some admin things, and, wasn't happy once I left the classroom, and I missed it a lot. So from now on, I still remind myself, what is my prosperity? What does that look like when I'm not dependent on the prosperity of others? And so now prosperity looks a little different. If I am happy and I feel like I'm still giving back to help others, here at KHIT, we really feel like, wherever you are, that's okay. And you can't stay there because everybody deserves better.
Yeah.
And so for prosperity for me is, meeting people where they are and helping them grow.
That's beautiful. So that was the classroom experience into that part of your life. Now, do you have an exact moment you knew you couldn't keep working inside of someone else's vision and you had to build KHIT?
Yeah, it was a slow aha.
Slow one, yeah.
I got into one, director's position, and it was when I kept being told, you're too much of this and you're not enough of this. And, being told both of those things, I'm like, I'm an amazing person, and I love growing, and I love learning, and I love education. Even now, one of the things KIT does is training and implementation, and it's all about change, and no one loves change. And being told you're not enough, and at the same time you're too much. I was like, nobody should feel like that. Nobody should have to be a different person at home than they are at work. And that moment was when you know what? I'm not cut out for this. And so that's when I began to work for myself. It was kind of an accident, but I loved it because I could choose, with whom I worked. And if we vibe, then, and I built a team of different people. If you don't vibe with me, I have somebody you vibe with, because you should be allowed to be yourself and be, prosperous.
Yeah, this is such a beautiful statement, several statements, and my team and my investors and advisors and companies we're investing in, they all hear me say very similar statements, and so that's really beautiful. So thank you for sharing that. So then moving into KIT, what did you see that other big vendors or agencies that, so to say, could be your competitors, what did you see that they couldn't or weren't providing that you could?
One of the things that we do is we take the time to really learn where our clients are, and we learn their vocabulary. We don't push vendor vocabulary. We don't push technology vocabulary on them. We don't push different processes on them. We take the time to learn exactly where they are, and that makes a big difference. especially, when you talk about change management, like people, want to be heard. And also with that, adult learning theory, when you go in to teach a group of adults, you better know where they already are and how much they already know. And a lot of vendors don't do that. They just want to say, this is what we call it. And, I'm not going to change. But even like with some of our clients, they call breadcrumbs, or some people call them cookie crumbs. If you want to call them cookie crumbs, I'll call them cookie crumbs. That's not a big
Yes,
deal.
yeah,
But we really take that time to learn and then help them understand why, tell us why you do those things, and help
yeah,
them understand implementation, why they might want to change the way they do things, but really taking that time to learn the client, to learn where they are, to learn the organization and where they want to go.
yeah. That's beautiful. I feel that when I was growing my marketing and business development and PR agency, I would always be asked, "Oh, you've never worked in this particular industry before." Yet I changed naturally. I started getting referred to different industries every 1 to 3 years, and I'd be like, "No, it's the same foundation, but watch what I can do." And I'd put together an amazing proposal, and I would do deep research on their company, and I'd get to know their personality and language and how they did things. And you do have to mold, not away from who you are, going back to the very first thing that you shared at the beginning of this episode, but also just showing others that you can be in the same perspective as them and make them feel comfortable too in that scenario. Yep,
Yeah.
that's it right there. A lot of people would have said, if I'm building, a big tech consulting agency, I need to be in, the big cities that are near you, Indianapolis or Louisville or Nashville. You planted your flag in Charlestown, Indiana. So why does where you built KIT matter to you, or does it, or, you know?
No, most of our clients when we first began were not anywhere near us. Arizona, Texas, New York, New Jersey, California, because, we were remote before, 2020. And
Yeah,
so it was easy for us. And we did travel, and we do still travel. If our clients want us on site, we're there. But we're so good at managing and leading from anywhere. And even now, like, we don't have an office building. We did have for a while, and we just never
yeah.
used it.
No, yeah.
Yes.
I've been in and out of offices.
Yeah.
Yep, I
And so
understand.
we really can, work for anywhere. I started my business with my laptop and some Wi-Fi, and it grew. And so we can do everything we need from our laptops, and that's what we help our clients do, is show them that you should be able to access your information from anywhere. You shouldn't be have to be at one computer.
Exactly.
you know
Yep, yep. So you're specifically focused in healthcare,
that's about
or
half of our
you
clients.
have other clients? Half, okay.
We do have other clients, other industries like manufacturing, construction, spa salons, home services like
Great.
plumbing, electrician, things like that.
I will be using your services in the future.
Yeah, we can do any industry, but about half of our clients are EHR. We have just a passion there of helping organizations, because a lot of those places are either government funded or
Okay.
government run, or they're nonprofits. And we want them to know that also that they deserve more, and that they deserve better, and that you can get that, with what you have. You just have to look at it differently,
Yeah.
and know where you are, know where you want to go. We can help you get there. I love clients who are curious. People ask me, what's your ideal client? Somebody who's curious. Somebody asks me,
Yes.
what if we could do this?
Right.
What if we could do this? What if we could do
Right.
this? I love clients like that, because
Yeah.
I love to make those what ifs reality.
Yeah, and they also are. It's fun to be able to have someone who's open minded, so that if not only good emergencies, but if there's a bad emergency, that they're able to be there right there with you at the front line, and creating that change. Yes. And so going back to prosperity, when what does that look like for you on a Tuesday morning at home, or with one of your clients?
You know, I try to my days like Mondays and Fridays. I try not to leave my office.
Yeah.
Prosperity for me is making sure that I have time to address my emails, address my to-do list, really get stuff done. As CEO, you know, working on the business versus working in the business, I love working in the business.
Right.
So I've hired other people to work on the business, but I do have those kind of, duties as CEO. So Mondays and Fridays are kind of my, working on the business and getting that stuff done. And then my Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday are when I get to do networking
Yeah.
and get my meetings and get out with clients and things
Yeah.
like that. So I have a lot of recurring every other Tuesdays with some of my clients, which is really nice.
Yeah.
And so, a very prosperous Tuesday for me would be minimal email, check it maybe twice a day,
Yeah.
which the experts say is how you do it.
Yeah.
And
This is
a
true.
lot of face to face with my clients.
Beautiful. My schedule also has a little bit of spontaneity in there, but then also I keep it pretty structured, where my prosperity is making sure that I get out and put my feet in the sand, or jump in the ocean to cleanse, or read a book under a tree for like 20 minutes, right, at least. But then there's blocks where I just focus, do deep work, right? And I only like to check my emails lately too, only a few times, two or three maybe a day for sure. So KIT is WBENC-certified. Could you let people know what that stands for?
Yeah, so WBE is Women Business Enterprise, and we are certified so you can be certified state, you can be certified like locally. WBENC is a federal certification.
Wow.
So if you need, if you're looking for a women business enterprise or, women owned business, no matter where you are in the country, we are certified women business.
Okay, beautiful, beautiful. So like the gold standard for women-owned
Yeah, and
businesses.
you have to be certified in at least 2 states to do that. So we got certified in
Wow.
Indiana and then in Kentucky, but we're also certified like Louisville Metro.
I didn't know this existed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Okay,
it's
great.
a lot of paperwork. There are organizations, there are businesses that will help you get certified. We did it on our own. It's just a lot, like I said, a lot of paperwork, a lot of back and forth, and you do have to re-up. I think it's every 2 years, but that would be
Okay, got it.
for somebody else on my team.
Yes. All right. So let's move into you serving on your local school board of trustees, is what I read. And you're active with the League of Women Voters. I reached out to you because you're a woman business and you're paving your way. But these are some fun facts that I found.
Yeah, so I'm serving my 3rd term on the school board. The first time I ran against one person, the second time I ran unopposed, the third time I ran against 2 other people. And so it's the school corporation that I grew up in, and it's also the school corporation I worked in for like 12 years. And I felt really strongly about, making sure that I'm still supporting those teachers and those kids. And so that's why I ran, to make sure that it can be the happiest place for teachers and kids.
I love
That's
that.
what I believe prosperity is happiness. Like, I think it's a big chunk.
Yeah.
And I'm president of the League of Women Voters of Southern Indiana. And that's just because so many people are uneducated about like how voting works and primary
Wow.
versus general, and just the percentage of people that don't vote.
Yep.
Getting those younger voters and those minority voters into the polls is
That's
something I'm very
great.
passionate about. So
I love
education,
that.
community, yeah. And KIT supports a lot of the community around. Like, we support the library, we support almost every
I'm
sports
a
team.
bibliophile. I love
No,
libraries.
I could talk about books forever.
Oh, that was my next question.
What do you want to know? Do you want to know what I'm reading or what I'm reading?
Well, yeah, just like a quick rapid fire, before we close, like one book that changed how you lead. But before we move on to there, that's why I created Sacral Sisters. And what Plunge Into Prosperity was a series of events in person. And I shared with you, like, I wanted to reach more women and educate women on building their wealth and their prosperity. And so So yeah, that's why I started Sacral Sisters, the SPV, where we all invest together. Yeah. So yes, that's awesome. So what is your one book that changed how you lead today?
I think one of the books is The Power of Habit by David somebody. I can't remember. It's probably on this bookshelf. I haven't met him.
I know the book. Yep.
Yeah. And it was just like it was really helpful leading because of just how different that short term, long term versus habits, how habits form,
Yeah.
and how you can support other people's habit forming.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that I try to do as I lead is help people form good habits. And
That's so beautiful to say that.
my client,
Because everyone's always talking about their own patterns and their own habits. And I'm naturally always helping others, like create those new neurons or learn how to be, if you meditate for 90 days in a row for 20 minutes a day, it removes the fear, the synapse of fear. It doesn't remove it totally, but it weakens its strength. Yeah. So I'm always sharing, things like that. I didn't realize that it was said so eloquently in that sentence. So I never said that out loud. That's awesome. Right now I'm reading Strong Ground, Brene Brown's new book there. So that's my newest one.
I will tell you one more. It's
Yes.
called Gender Goggles.
Okay.
It's by Jill Eaton. And it's really short, and it really gave me perspective about the science behind the genders, and specifically like in leadership and in
Yeah.
the corporate world. It does have some
Yeah.
like at-home things too, but Gender Goggles is an amazing read. You can get it on Kindle, you can get it on Audible. I think I have like 3 copies because I hand them out all the time. Gender Goggles is really good to help you not only navigate the world with men, but also navigate the.
Yes, this is beautiful. Yep. I'm always preaching about these things as well. So I remember when you and I were chatting, I believe there were maybe cats or a dog in the house. I think you said you had a corgi.
I do have a corgi. She's currently
Yeah.
Her name's Daisy.
What is one thing she taught you about life?
Patience.
Okay, yes, that's my favorite.
Patience. Because she, and just love, like unconditional love. I love that dog so much. I would die for her. But yeah, she taught me those probably 2 things. I mean, I love my sisters and my parents and my husband and my nieces and nephews.
Yes,
The way this dog looks at me, I'm just like, oh,
I love, yes. Yep, I've had pets growing up as well, and right now I don't have a dog, but because I'm traveling so much, I gave my dog to my aunt, so she's still in the family. But yes, that's beautiful. So we're gonna go ahead and close out here, and I just wanted you to kind of share, where can these listeners, these amazing new followers of ours, find you or get in contact with you? Maybe what kind of question would they be asking inside their business that might spark why they need to contact you?
oh my gosh, yes. So what I want business owners to do is I want them to think about this question. My business would be more efficient if my staff were able to what?
Yes,
They can help you with that. Like think about that
exactly.
and then send that to me and let's talk about that. Or think about this. My business would be more, effective, efficient, profitable if my clients, if my customers were able to what?
Yes,
And then we just use technology to solve those problems. We just use technology
exactly.
to
Exactly.
support.
And collaboration.
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely. People can find me at KHIT Consulting, KHIT Consulting.com. We're also on LinkedIn. I'm also on LinkedIn, Katie Hutchinson, HUTCHINSON.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Well, y'all heard her. Go connect with Katie. Share this episode with someone who needs to hear it. And we will be back for another episode of Plunge Into Prosperity tomorrow at 10 a.m. Everyone, have a prosperous rest of your day and week. Thank you so much, Katie, for a vibrant and forward moving, great energy podcast. Thank you again.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for plunging into sacred wisdom and regenerative wealth with us. If your soul and your portfolio just got a glow up, hit subscribe on YouTube, Amazon, Spotify, and Apple. Share it with your crew. Tag us on social and join the movement at plungeintoprosperity.com. I am Brandi Kolosky. Catch you on the next plunge.